John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. I've got an epic broadhead battle that's going down today. What makes a really good broadhead battle is when the designs of the two heads are very similar. And that's the case in today's epic battle. Here I've got in this corner the Swhacker 262. Here in this corner, I've got the QAD Exodus. These heads are very similar. You can see them there by design and by cutting diameter. I'm going to zoom in here in just a second and show you some of the similarities as well as some of the differences in the specs of these two heads. And then I'm going to be putting them through all the tests that I'm doing for 2020. I'm going to test them out to distance for flight, and then I'm going to test them for edge sharpness and retention. That's a new test that I've added, the push paper test, where I see if they can cut paper out of the package, and then I see if how many times they can keep cutting paper after I rub Easton Hex arrow over the edge of the blade. Okay, you'll see what happens if you haven't seen it yet. And then I've got a penetration test where I'm using a uniform medium that's similar as close as I get to an animal while still being uniform, and that is a half-inch layer of MDF to simulate bone, surrounded by a 1/3 inch layer of rubber foam mat for the hide, and then backed up by clear ballistic gel for the tissue. And so that'll be a penetration test. Then I have the edge durability test where I see how they can stack up to a 22 gauge steel plate. All right, so I'm going to do that in just a second, but just to let you know, remind you, I'm using a Bowtech SR6 set at 72 pounds. I'm shooting a Bishop Archery FOC King arrow, 460 grains. I'm using fobs. So let's zoom in here, show you the broadheads up close, and then let the broadhead battle begin. Here you can see the distinct similarities between the heads, that both of them have a blade over shaft technology. In the top you see the Exodus, the bottom the Swhacker 262. They both have hardened steel tips, and they both have those swept back blades, and that's the advantage of having the blade over shaft design, is it allows the angle of the blade to be more swept back, which will aid in penetration. Both of them have a 1 1/4 inch cut, which is a relatively large cut for a 3-blade fixed blade head like this. Now, some distinct differences between them. The Exodus is a complete steel design, 100% steel, whereas the Swhacker has an aluminum ferrule to it. Also, the blade retention system is different. In the Swhacker, you have 3 different set screws, one that holds in each of the blades. So each blade is held in just by a single set screw, whereas in the Exodus, they're held up by a kind of a tongue and groove system where it slides under the tip and under that washer that holds them in place, firm to the shaft itself. The blades also have a different swept angle to it. The Exodus is swept a little bit more gradually than is the Swhacker. In terms of the blade thickness, the Exodus has a .040 inch thick blade, which is really thick for a replaceable blade, whereas the Swhacker has a .032 inch thick blade. Also, you notice on the Swhacker, the front and the back of the blades are sharpened, whereas in the Exodus, just the leading edge of the blade is sharpened. Okay, so those are some of the similarities and some of the differences. Oh, one other difference is the Swhacker has an offset blade design, which should create a cool wound channel, whereas the Exodus just has a straight, regular blade design. So these heads are very similar, but they also have some distinct similarities. That's why we have the broadhead battle. Let's see how each of them perform. Swhacker 262 out of the package Sharpness. Okay, 1 stroke with the arrow. So the 262 cut paper out of the package, but it did not after 1 stroke of the arrow. QAD Exodus out of the package. Second stroke of the arrow. Third stroke of the arrow. Yeah. Fourth stroke of the arrow. Fifth stroke of the arrow. Okay, still cut after 5 strokes of the arrow. First the Swhacker, then the Exodus. Here's the penetration of both of them. The Swhacker at the top penetrated 7.5 inches, and the Exodus at the bottom penetrated 8.5 inches. Now I'm going to do the edge durability test, and I'm going to shoot the Swhacker into this 22 gauge steel plate for a maximum of 5 times. Each time I shoot it, I'll examine the blades, and once the blades are damaged beyond the point of being able to be repaired, they would have to be replaced, then I'll call it. I've already done this with the Exodus, and you can check out that video when I did the broadhead battle of the Exodus versus the Striker. I'm not going to go ahead and chew up my steel plate again with those shots. It made it through 5 times with flying colors, looked brand new. Okay, so here we go with the Swhacker, shot number 1. So what'd you think of this broadhead battle? I gotta tell you, the Swhacker impressed me more than I thought it would. Both heads flew exceptionally well. I give it a draw in that department. But in each of the other areas, the edge sharpness and edge retention, the penetration and the durability, the edge durability, the Exodus prevailed. So the winner of this broadhead battle is the QAD Exodus. Congratulations, Exodus.